Okay, what am I up to today? Well, you may recall that we have been having issues with our Starlink. It was kind of playing up, not performing the way that it should be. And I did some cabling changes and that made it a bit better, but it wasn't amazing still. So I contacted Starlink and they looked into it. I actually requested a genuine replacement cable from them and they couldn't supply it. But they looked into the logs of our system and agreed that there were lots of errors, and they determined that it was a hardware fault and offered to send me a replacement kit, so a Gen 3 kit. So our original one was Gen 2. So here's our new Gen 3 Starlink with its stand that comes as standard. Now this just pops off. You just pull that thing out. That comes out. And then this is a mount they've developed specifically for boats and vans and camper vans and caravans and things like that. And so this one just slots straight in where the old one came out, and then there's a couple of cap screws there to tighten it up to lock it into the little locking mechanism. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Starlink. I'm very impressed. I thought for sure they would refuse to supply me a replacement when they knew that I'd modified the old one, but they didn't. So today's job is work out how I'm going to mount this on the roof and get cabling through. I've already removed the original one off the roof, but I still need to take the brackets and stuff off. I've got to say, the dry season has arrived and it's really nice. So anyway, into it. Fighter jet going over. I'm going to be in and out of the van a bit during this process, so I figure I may as well put the awning up, give a bit of shade at the door. That way is basically east, so the sun's going to come around that way through the morning, so having some shade will be good. Experience tells me I need to use a guy rope. Don't want a gust of wind to take the awning and flip it over onto the roof. It would be a right pain in the neck. Okay, there's the original mounting brackets. I've got to take them off. I've got the brackets removed and I've just got the fasteners sitting in the rev nuts dry at the moment because I don't want to have wet sealer up here and then be drilling holes. So I'll just do all the sealing and everything at the end. So it looks like 300mm across to the centre. So 300 puts the centre pretty much right on there. Makes it a little bit tricky. I was hoping not to use riv nuts, but I'm going to have to use riv nuts. Well, I'm just going to wind up drilling a hole right down through here, and bringing the cable through here and then just run it up along behind there. I think it's probably time for a coffee. Okay, so I've been to Bunnings, got the riv nuts I needed, so now time to start work on mounting the bracket. Okay, let's dry fit this mount. It's a nice bit of kit actually. It's got this rubber on here. If you didn't have to use riv nuts, it would probably seal quite nicely. And then they've got these rubberized washers, which clearly are designed to be part of sealing everything. So yeah, nice bit of kit actually. When I fit it permanently, I'll clearly need to put a nice bead of sealer around all of those riv nuts so that I don't end up with any leaks. There's no guarantees they won't leak the way they are. So that will need sorting, but for the moment that's a nice fit like that. Happy with that. So it's tightened down properly. So the next thing is to figure out where this cable's going to go. I'm going to have to bring it right over here. That hole is not quite big enough. Alright, let's go see where that is. Might grab a hole saw actually and hole saw from the inside. A big enough hole that I can get that nut up in there. It's maybe overkill, but I'm going for 50 mil. And I'm just getting the cushions out of the way. The reason I'm going for such a big hole saw is because not only do you have to get this nut up in there, but you've actually got to get a grip on it and turn it, so that's going to require space. So it's bigger than I would like, but I think it's probably going to save some grief doing it this way. Might need to change to my smaller drill. Not sure if the chuck on this one's big enough, but this one's a shorter drill, so that other one's a bit too long to get in there. Oh yeah, beautiful. Alright, here goes. Let's get this out of there as well, because that's going to get full of dust. Hopefully we can get what we need out of that. I just need to open out the hole at the top a little bit. It's just a little bit too small. Okay, I've got it on the top. See if I can get the nut on. Should be able to feed that up through there. There we go. So I'm not fitting it permanently at the moment, but I'm just putting it on so that in the event this early in the dry season we can still get rain in the evening. It's possible that we will, so fit this. If we do get any rain, shouldn't be a problem. It plugs in there like so. Done. A whole lot easier than the Gen 2, if you remember that whole process, getting the Gen 2 one mounted. It's a little bit wobbly, but then the mount is not secured, not tightened down properly at this point. But I'm just going to leave it like that for the evening, and then tomorrow I'll come back to it. Okay, it's time to take this back off. And this is an adhesive and sealant. It's Sigaflex product, 11FC. So I'm going around all of the riv nuts to try and stop any water being able to creep in under the riv nut. And then I'm going to go around the edge of the seal. And around the edge of the mount, a little bit in from the edge of the mount. Basically I want it sealed, but I also want to add holding force with this stuff, so I'm not only relying on the bolts. Alright. I'll try and do this without getting too messy. Alright, that's nice and stable. Done. Time for a coffee. Goodbye Gen 2 router. So let's plug it in and see what it does. Ethernet goes in here. Power in here. Interestingly, Starlink have got on their list of bits and pieces that you can get for the Gen 3 a 12 volt power supply, 12 volt power converter, so you don't need to use this brick, but it's not actually available on the Starlink Australia website, so I don't know what the deal with that is. One of the advantages to this router over the original one is that it does actually have a couple of Ethernet ports, so if you want to have some equipment hardwired, you can. Well, I'm pretty happy to say that it's working fine. It knows it's our Starlink, it's associated with it with our existing account, including the fact that it's on a paused roam account. It's currently pulling down an update from Starlink, so I'm going to let it do that and remove the power supply for the Gen 2. We've been away for a weekend and used the Starlink, just powered off the 240 volt, and it's working beautifully. Works perfectly while we're in motion, no problems. So glad that we've got that issue sorted. Then this is the 12 volt power supply for it that has just arrived, and this is capable of way more wattage than is needed for the Starlink, but it means it won't have to work so hard. And I chose this one particularly because it's got a fan mounted on a heat sink to help control the heat. So I've designed a case for it in Fusion 360, and so the first part of it is printed, so let's just see whether that fits nicely. This part just slips down over the heatsink like so, and then the next piece will fix on through the mounting holes into that cover, and then there's an actual mount which will screw to the wall, and then all of this will mount to that. So next piece is on the printer behind me now. So this is the first layer going down of the next part of the mount. This is actually the mount that will screw to the wall. It's printing now. Okay, so here's the final part. Let's see how it goes together. This is the actual case. It's the mount this part will screw to the wall, and this part, the case, should just, that it will click in nicely. Alright, so that's clicked in. You can see that I've also got holes here which are for fasteners, and I'm going to embed some of these inserts, threaded inserts, into the plastic for the fasteners. So here's the power supply with the other part of the mount, the other part of the case, and okay, so I was concerned that that might be the case. I've got, no, there we go, fit it the right way around and it fits. So access to the terminals to wire it up through the ends. So the whole thing will mount on the wall like that. There's next to the terminals there's a little trim pot, and we're aiming for 57 volts. Okay, my plan is I still want to be able to use the Starlink power supply, but I want to use this plug for the connection in the van. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this low voltage side, the 57 volt side of the wire, and then I'm going to use some XT30 connectors to make the lead that plugs into the router unplug from the power supply in the van and be able to plug back into this one. So if I want to take the Starlink off the roof and plug it into 240 volt and use it somewhere else, like at home, if our internet went down here, then we'd be able to do that. So that's the current plan. See how we go. Let's start by turning the power off. Turn that back on. And let's check our voltage with the plug. 57 volts. Plug this back in. Now we should have 57 volts here. And we do. Just not permanently installing this just at the moment, but I'm just going to pop the cover on here. That's alright, it can sit like that. Let's plug our power into the router. Turn that on. Well, that's Starlink online, running off 12 volts. It's looking good. It's been on all afternoon. It's now 9:30 in the evening. I've just let it run to see how it would go. It's looking good. No outages in the last 15 minutes. No outages greater than 2 seconds. Ping success is looking pretty good. Latency is not too bad. Power draw 37 watts. So yeah, looking good. Let's do a speed test and see how it's looking. It's not too bad. At the moment the Starlink is actually oriented the wrong way. It's facing north instead of facing south. So to be getting 138 megabits a second down with the Starlink facing the wrong way, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Okay, well, pretty happy with that. Starlink is fixed and working in motion. It's running off 12 volt again now. New Starlink Gen 3 installed. Pretty happy. Got to say, pretty impressed with Starlink's service. I still need to mount the power supply, but that's going to be impossible to video anyway because of where it goes, and you don't really need to see that. But yeah, really happy with that result. So thanks for watching. As always, be kind, and we'll see you next time.